You can see we have a lot of stuff going on in this problem, but we know we have to solve for W, right? We have W on both sides of an inequality. I can see that we have some distribution we have to take care of. And that's the first thing I look for, do I have to distribute? And you can see we do have to do that because you can't do anything with those W's unless you distribute first. So let's do that in the first step. So we're going to get negative 32. Multiply these out. Notice this is a positive 5. So if I ignore this, it's like saying positive 5 times positive 5, which is positive 25. And then again, positive 5 times negative W, or negative 1W, is negative 5W. And as a side note, 5 minus 1 is the same thing as saying 5 plus negative 1. So that's why I am interpreting as this minus 1 as a negative 1, because I'm pretty much doing this part in my head. I'm considering this as a negative because it's the same thing. All right, so now going back to this, we're going to bring down the inequality sign. And then now here we're distributing a negative 3. Negative 3 times 1W is negative 3W. And then negative 3 times positive 7 is negative 21. So you can see that we have less terms now. So we're getting closer. So now what I'm going to look for is some like terms. And I can see that I have these two numbers here are like terms. So those are on the same side. So that's actually I'm going to start with that first. So like terms on the same side. So negative 32 plus 25 is going to give me negative 7. Then I'm going to bring down the rest. Minus 5W greater than negative 3W minus 21. And again, you can see we're getting less terms every time. So it's getting closer and closer to our solution. So now I'm looking at the variables again. Negative 5W and negative 3W. And what I do in this case is, when they're on different sides, you have to make a zero pair with one of them. And the one that I make a zero pair with is the one that is lower in value. So comparing these two numbers, negative 5 is worth less. So that way, I'm going to make a zero pair with this one. So opposite of negative 5 will be positive 5W. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just like we do when we solve an equation, you got to make sure you balance it out. And now, we're going to cancel this out because that's a zero pair. Right? Combine opposites, that gives you 0. We'll bring down our negative 7. Bring down the greater than sign. Negative 3 plus 5 is positive 2W. And then I bring down my minus 21. So again, we're getting closer and closer every time to get less terms. And now, since we're trying to solve for W, what I recommend is, since W is on the right side, and I know I have to graph it at the end, I'm going to switch sides right now. So this is going to be switching sides with this negative 7 here. So I'm going to put 2W minus 21 on this side, the negative 7 on the other side. And notice, if you were to consider this like an arrow, notice it's pointing towards the 2W. So I'm going to make sure it's pointing towards the same direction, right? It's pointing towards 2W minus 21 still. So basically, you got to switch everything around. So that means my arrow will be the other direction. So you don't have to do this step, but since I know I have to graph it, I'm just doing this so I know that my variable is on the left side, and then that's one less thing to worry about in the end. But you could also do it at the very end. So keep solving for W, and once you isolate W on this side, you just swap everything around in the end, similar to what I did here. So now what we're going to do is take this term here, and we're going to make a zero pair with it because, I guess I should highlight this instead. We're trying to solve for W, so that's the term I want to get rid of. Opposite of negative 21 would be positive 21. I'm going to do the same exact thing on this side. And now I'm going to simplify. So negative 21 and positive 21, when you combine that, that's a zero pair. I'll bring down my 2W less than, and then negative 7 plus 21 is going to give me positive 14. And now, in the last step, in order to make this into a 1W, I got to divide it by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then I'm going to do the same exact thing on this side as well. And then now, last step is just to simplify. 2 divided by 2, I get 1W less than 14 divided by 2, which is 7. So that will be my solution set. And I'm just going to do a quick sketch of this on a graph. So 7 goes in the middle. I'll put a 6 here and an 8 here. And then now I got to look at my inequality. So numbers less than 7 are solutions. Numbers less than 7 means I'm not including this because it's less than, so it cannot be included. And then less than will be in this direction here. So that's the solution set to the inequality that we started with. So pretty much that's the inequality. So if I were to erase this, you can see that we started with this. So any number, so going back to my solution, any number less than 7, if you substitute it into that inequality, we'll make it a true statement.